Hello everyone, let us now talk about very important demographic group which is simmering with discontent and anger, Gen Z. Lot of videos has been made on it, but I want to give you comparative perspective of this global youth uprising across the world. It is not just about Nepal, Gen Z of Sri Lanka, Gen Z of Indonesia, Gen Z of Hong Kong, Gen Z of US, Gen Z of Kenya, and to some extent Gen Z of India also has been simmering with discontent with regard to existing political and economic systems of our country, marked with sharp inequalities, unemployment, etc. so and so forth. We'll also talk about across the world. If you see from the Bangladesh to the US, Nepal to the Kenya, everywhere the youth has been discontent. And this particular demographic group is showing anger and urgency, which is nothing but Gen Z. Before going into the topic, I would like to also tell you that is showing anger and urgency, which is nothing but Gen Z. Before going into the topic, I would like to also tell you that while we are discussing this particular Gen Z protests and global youth uprisings, we'll also talk about how it is relevant to India and what would be the future of global politics. And for sure, Gen Z will become one of the important centric idea with regard to policy making and decision making of all the governments in future. Let us dwell in them one by one. Now let us talk about what has happened in Nepal. Just 1 minute of brief discussion on it. In September 25 this month only, Nepal Gen Z took to youth and they have written on the walls, on the hoardings, that it is a protest of Gen Z. So one thing is very clear, the resignation of Nepal PM is because of the Gen Z protest. Gen Z took to the streets, they torched the Supreme Court, PM of Nepal resigned, these three events happened. The question here is why? The Gen Zs of the Nepal has been exposed to outer world with regard to social media platforms and also from the friends and relatives who are working in other countries. Now they get very much insecure and discomfort with regard to why whatever is happening across the world, the development, why this is not happening in Nepal. Then they realize that it is a cyclical political leaders which are coming and they are giving a slogan called as no, not again. Means for them democracy has only become a ritual. Means every 5 years you do it, just sit like that. It's a ritual. It is not giving them anything. Not giving them the people, the Nepalis who have been graduated in the professional courses, in the normal courses, have no other way out except to take up Indian Civil Service examination, quoted one of the student who have actually done 4 years of engineering but has not found any job in Nepal. So the discontent is very simple. Unemployment, rampant corruption, no, not again, the same old leaders. It means what? Gen Zs are very much vulnerable and are in a complete urgent need of faster reforms. They are not going to wait for the reforms that bring slow development. They want rapid changes because according to them, they have had enough faith and they have had given enough time to the old cyclical leaders who come to power but has not seen any change. They even say that they are unable to even pay the bills, medical bills and educational fees of their parents and of their children. So if the situation in a country goes so deepening and saddening with regard to family affairs, if you're not able to manage, then everyone will come on the road for sure. We will not come on the road until and unless it does not affect our family. But we will definitely come on the road if it affects our family, which is what has happened in Nepal, and definitely come on the roads if we are educated but still does not find a job. Then also will come on the roads. That is exactly what has happened in Nepal. Gen Zs got very much discontent and the anger burst out, led to the toppling of the government itself, resignation of the PM. Now, is this the only way? Is it the only country that has experienced it? No, not at all. Let me give you some more example where the global youth uprisings have taken a shape and has stormed the democracies in a very big way. Nepal is not alone here. If you see Bangladesh, the quota reservation has led to the toppling of Sheikh Hasina government, which was led by Gen Z only. If you see Sri Lanka, there also youth have protested, come onto the streets and led to the resignation of Rajapaksa dynasty power hegemony. Then if you see in the US and the Western European countries, anti-campus anger has been showed and erupted over war with Gaza. And India also, to some extent, we have seen with regard to anti-CAA protest in Shaheen Bagh. And also, these days we are also talking about casteism related issues, and these days we are also talking about a very beautiful example with regard to Delhi stray dogs issue. Gen Z came out and led to the reversal of the Supreme Court order. But in all of these, one thing has been very common. The developed countries and the largest democracies like us, US and Western European countries, the institution, the police, the military, the strategy, the political leaders are very much connected to the masses. And because of the strong institutions and leaders, we did not experience a collapse. Whereas in other countries, they have completely collapsed. Their government has bought down by the Gen Zs, just like that. Okay, so it's not just Nepal uprising. It's an uprising that has been seen across the global landscape, where global youth is continuously targeting the government if they are not providing us and making the democratic elections just as a ritual, nothing more than that. I would like to also add two more important global events. In Kenya, students protested police brutality and led to violent crackdowns across the Kenya. Whereas in Indonesia in the same year 2025, youth have protested. That led to rollback of parliamentary privileges and perks. Means, why do you want to give expenditures? Why do you want to give a lot of lavish and elite life to the parliamentarians? They have to work for us. They are enjoying power. They are enjoying money. They are enjoying perks and privileges. Then what about us? That was a question that Indonesian youth or Gen Z has asked to the government, and government had to take down that particular parliamentary perks and privileges. So you have seen, whether it is North, East, South, or any of the areas of the global world, you have seen that global youth is uprising in a very larger manner. So these Gen Z's protests are not the spontaneous agitations that we have seen. They are the response to the structural and the systematic failure of countries' political and economic systems. So I'll list out 4 important areas which are common with regard to global youth uprising, or the Gen Z protest, you may call it as. The first one here is unemployment and inequality. According to ILO, after the pandemic, there is a huge setback with regard to youth employment. Many of the youth, just like you and me, are actually having graduated, postgraduated, professional courses, still are very insecure about our job and are joining informal jobs, becoming Instagrammer, YouTuber, or working in some like a freelancer, but are not actually landing into formal corporate jobs, leading to insecurity about their future. The second important reason here is political elites and the show of wealth. Normal ordinary citizens in these countries, even in India, are suffering and struggling a lot, whereas political elites and the families of the big shots flaunting their wealth, going to the trips, going to the tours, and also availing foreign education, which is not in our hands. The third one here is capitalism has also led to broken down this particular chain. Education has no longer become a guarantee for the job. The dream of upward movements from the low class to the middle to the upper to the rich class has been fading. We now don't see that when we will become rich. We now don't see that when we will buy a house. So dream of upward mobility is completely fading in the minds of the Gen Z. And the fourth one is social media mobilization. Social media is acting as an accelerator and converting the voices of the Gen Z into an instant protest. These are the 4 important reasons across that we have seen in the global youth uprising. Now, with regard to PSIR, the youth uprising is very much in line with a lot of political thinkers. If you see from the lens of Marxism, he was very clear. Rising inequality and insecurity will lead to class struggle. Here, youth is acting as one of the important ingredients of class struggle. Another political thinker, name is Tilly, he said that resource mobilization, nothing but social media, will now transform into collective action with regard to political and the crony capitalism. Not only that, if you see Gramsci, one of the renowned political thinker, he said that youth will counter and act as a counter bridge to the hegemony of political elites and the crony capitalism. So youth have given enough space in the old classical, neoliberal, new democratic political thinkers. All of them has given importance to the youth. Protests may happen anytime. And we are now seeing that, okay, the thought process that they have given a long back we are now seeing it. Okay, so political thinkers have even foresighted in future what is going to happen, what youth are going to do. I'll end this lecture with a very powerful quote and a thought-provoking statement. Gen Z's protest should not be looked as a maladministration with respect to the government or a ill-informed policy decision making. Gen Z's protests are a cry for dignity, jobs and fairness. They are telling to the world, you stole our future.